Okay, I'm sure you've all been notified the meeting is being recorded and will be preserved for future generations of Carmel Mountians and Sabre Springians. I know, I think I'm hilarious.
I think it's Mountinos.
Mountinos, there you go. Now,
Mountaineers.
yes.
Mountaineers.
Now, Larry's been trying to join here. I don't know what's going on with his profile. I'll keep an eye on it. I'm sure he's probably rebooting or something. I know he's trying to join, so hopefully he'll get in by the time we need to take roll. And I guess I should get my agenda in front of me here. Okay. Okay, welcome to the March 8th, 2023 meeting of the Carmel Mountain Ranch Sabre Springs Community Planning Group. And okay, brand new camera, and it's still going to do that. All right, well, I guess my tech issue is not with the camera. So, all right, well, it's stopped for now. That's unbelievable. I don't want to tell you what I've been through to try and solve that, and to see that happening again, well, makes me want to break something, but I'm being recorded. So, all right, welcome to the March meeting. The Carmel, I already said that. Okay, we are called to order, and we're going to start with introduction of board members, and I'll introduce myself first before I start blinking out again. I am Deva Edelman. I am your chair, and I have been a resident of Carmel Mountains since 2004. So I think that's somewhere around 19 years. I'm a homeowner, and the seat that I occupy is actually a business seat. And as long as I have people in the room, I will reiterate that we do have seats available for homeowners, renters, business owners, and anyone else who is a resident of Carmel Mountain Ranch. All inclusive and ready to receive you.
Crazy, bro.
As a board member. Okay, we got to get that muted. Okay, okay. All right, so with that, let's continue with the roll call. John Schroeder, why don't you go ahead next?
All right. Yeah, my name is John Schroeder. I'm a Carmel Mountain Ranch resident, for homeowner for about 20 years. Also serve as the board secretary.
Yes, you do, and thank you for doing that.
Sure.
Kurt.
Evening, everybody. I am a homeowner since 1986. I love my job.
You're retired.
That's why I love it.
Larry.
Larry Fontaine, homeowner, Carmel Mountain Ranch. I came on the scene in 1991.
Nice. I saw Kirsten Greer was here.
Hey everyone, Kirsten Greer, homeowner, Carmel Mountain Ranch since 2017.
Okay, am I missing any current board members?
Well, I did.
Oh, Rich is here.
Rich.
Hi, homeowner, Carmel Mountain Ranch for what, 18 years now.
Very good. All right, am I missing any other homeowners? Board members, sorry.
Yeah, some names on the roster. I could just read them off, Eric.
Please.
Okay. Dan Thompson. Is Dan Thompson here?
He's not here.
Okay. Mark Clark.
He can't make it.
Okay. Michelle Mullen.
Also not here.
Dustin Leal.
Nope. I would say
Okay.
he's not an active board member anymore, so let's not count him as part of our quorum tonight. Oh, here comes
Okay.
Bruce too. Nice.
Yeah, Bruce was the last one I had on my list. So is he,
Okay,
he's coming?
he's joining. So that means we have 7, right?
Correct, 7.
And Dan and Michelle are actually resigned. Dustin termed out for non-attendance. So I'm going to declare quorum. Okay, good. Bruce Bergman, you popped in. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, Bruce Bergman, resident Carmel Mountain Fairway Village.
Thank you, Bruce. All right, so with that, I would like, we need a motion to approve tonight's agenda and the minutes from February.
I make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes from last month and tonight's agenda.
Very good. Second from anyone?
I'll second that.
Okay, let's just do it this way for the sake of time. Any abstentions or objections to the approval of minutes and agenda? Going once, twice. Okay, there being no abstentions or objections, we will consider that 7-0. Righty then. Well, that brings us right up to public comment for non-agenda items. So do we have any public comment for non-agenda items, keeping in mind that the development on the golf course and the car wash are on the agenda? So anything non-agenda, just go ahead and raise your hand, or if I'm not seeing your hand, just unmute and start talking. You'll have 3 minutes. And if we have no non-agenda public comment, that's fine too. I'll just cruise right on to the next item.
Eric,
Yes, Karen.
thank you. Regarding the item with the trees cut down and not a biological survey done for special status animals on the golf course, would that best be addressed now or when our representative from Lennar is talking? How would you handle that?
Yeah, let's save that one for the Lennar item.
Okay, all right, then I'm good.
All right, thank you, Karen. Okay, then, any other questions, comments, non-agenda? All right, I don't hear or see anyone, so we are going to cruise right into our neighborhood police report. I did see our wonderful community liaison officer, Julie Dratt, pop in. So if you're there, Officer Dratt, feel free to.
I am sorry. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, yes, we can.
Oh, perfect. Sorry, I know I don't have video up today. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
I just wanted to start off with a little bit of community announcement that the San Diego Police Department has already started holding community meetings on the smart street light license plate recognition technology use proposal. So, and before I, go into that real quick, I haven't sent you the link for that, correct?
You didn't, but I did get that from, I think, both the city councilman person and mayor's office yesterday.
Okay, well, after I speak on it, what I'll do is in the chat group, I will put the link in for the technology information. So, and I apologize if I'm boring you, but I'm just going to read this kind of off of a press release. So it started on Monday. The San Diego Police Department began a series of community meetings designed to inform the public and gather feedback on a proposal to use the smart streetlight and automated license plate recognition technologies to investigate and solve crimes. The meetings are in accordance with the City of San Diego surveillance ordinance that was passed in 2022, which details the requirements that every city department must adhere to for each technology that meets the criteria for surveillance. San Diego PD uses various technologies to conduct investigations, enhance response to critical incidents and public threats, and safeguard the lives of community members that must comply with the ordinance. One of the first proposals that the department will be bringing before the new Privacy Advisory Board established under the ordinance will be for smart streetlight and automated license plate recognition technologies. The smart streetlights equipped with video cameras have previously been used within the city of San Diego. However, they were turned off in 2020 following requests for further definition of how they can be used. So the meetings will consist of a presentation outlining the capabilities of the two technologies and their use by the department, including access, data storage and retention, the release of video collected, and more. There will also be time for community input and questions. So the next one that's going to be in our area is going to be held on, and when I say in our area, within our division. And again, you can go to any of the meetings that are within the city. And on the website as well, there will be other locations. But Thursday, tomorrow, at the Mira Mesa Library, it'll be from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. So again, it starts promptly at 12 o'clock. So those that are interested in joining the meetings are encouraged to review the presentation, use policies, and other supporting materials on the San Diego PD's technology webpage. And the attendees should arrive early as space, is limited within those venues. So once I'm done speaking, I will go ahead and put in the link regarding those technologies so that you have access to that to be able to read more information. And I'll go ahead and open it. Actually, sorry, I do have just one other knowledge unrelated to this, just for community. Just please keep in mind, I know that the weather's changing, people are going out, and with sports being, picking up at the community parks and rec centers, etc. Please remember not to leave any values in sight in your car. If you have to bring something with you, please put it out of sight, out of mind before you arrive so that people aren't watching you get out and put your purse in the trunk or something like that. So again, just keep things in mind. If you can, keep those items at home. If not, please put them away, lock them up before you exit your vehicles. And I will open up to any questions.
Any questions for Officer Dratt? Please fire away.
Yeah, this is Larry. I've got a question. I'm hearing from some of the neighbors that there seems to be an increased home break-in in the Carmel Mountain Ranch area. And I was wondering if you've noticed any increase in break-ins or anything like that.
Specific to Carmel Mountain, I do not, again, because we don't run the stats. So if there is something that's, if people are reporting it, and if you're looking on crabmapping.com, or if you go to that nextrequest.com, for more specific stats and you have questions, please let me know. But I'm not seeing anything out of the norm, if that makes sense.
Okay, no, that's fine. I mean, that's exactly what I was looking for, to see if there was any fact behind it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Bruce?
Kind of glomming on that comment. I saw next door that there was a ton of mail stolen along some of the streets in Carmel Mountain. Is that not covered in your report?
No, so again, we don't give out crime stats anymore. And what happens, so going specific to mail, if these are the mail boxes, those are handled, through the United States Postal Service. So everyone's encouraged to report those through the postal inspector online, which they can do for those kind of reports. So I don't know if those reports are being made. What I will tell you is if those reports are being made, we have worked in connections with the postal inspectors, and our detectives if need be. But they have their own, people that obviously do their inspections and investigations on that.
But from a perspective of the comment or the question, an increase in crime, wouldn't that qualify as a comment of increased crime?
It would be considered a crime, but again, because I don't give out stats, I don't have the numbers on that, if that makes sense. And because if they're reporting it to the United States Postal Inspector, it's not going to show up as a stat on the San Diego Police Department's website if you looked it up there, or on crime mapping, because if it's reported through the postal inspectors. Now, if it's, crimes of say UPS package deliveries or things like that, then yes, that's reported through the police department.
Okay.
Rich?
Hi, I just have a question about the cameras and the smart cameras for when the term for solving crime, does that include speeding and red light running, or is that like more severe crimes, like whatever? I'm just wondering if it includes speeding.
So so here's the thing. I'm not an expert in this, with the smart street lights, but that's typically with the cameras to solve the crimes, not for speeding. That's usually separate. But that's why I'm going to put the information regarding the technology site in there. So, that may already be answered within that information that's on that website. Or again, if somebody's in attendance at that meeting and if it's not covered during the presentation, that'd be a question that could be asked.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Kurt?
Yeah, hi, Officer Drac. I had a question and a follow-up.
Okay.
One of them was, what constitutes a commercial vehicle? In other words, like in our neighborhood, we have somebody who's got a rather, large vehicle, like a, I don't know, it's like a box car or something. It's huge. And sometimes they leave it like 4 or 5 days, then they move it around. My question is that what constitutes, because I know that there's a time limit for commercial vehicles to be able to park in our neighborhoods, correct?
Right. For if it depends on if it fell within the oversized vehicle ordinance for the OVOs. So that there are different, so depending on the size, the length, the height, etc., if it fell in within a certain category in a certain time frame. Otherwise, just in general, it's no more than 72 hours in one place.
Oh, 72 hours. Okay, so if I told you the vehicle was, I think it's 12 feet tall, standard width, but its length, I think, is about 16 feet. I think that would constitute an oversized vehicle, right?
I gotta be honest, I'd have to go back and look at the paperwork. I want to say 27 feet, but I'd have to go back and look at the OVO paperwork. I don't have that access to that with me here, so I could probably email that. If I can find it here, I can email it next week to Eric to share with you, if that's possible, regarding the OVO.
Yeah, that'd be fine. That'd be fine.
Okay.
And then my follow-up was on
Yes.
the last month I asked you about the lighted tunnels. If the San Diego police had an issue with the lighted tunnels, are they going to be lit? And you were going to follow up with New Urban West?
So
New
now,
Urban West is not in the equation any longer.
right. So now I'll have to get a point of contact with Lennar Homes to be able to reach out to them. So hopefully, I know there's a contact listed, I think, but I don't have an email for them. So I don't know if there's a way, Eric, if you're able to get their email
I
later
can
and share that.
I actually thought I did that, but it's also possible that I just thought I did that. But yeah, I got a contact for you, and she's actually here tonight.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Arlene. Arlene, could you pop your email into the chat for Officer Dratt to copy, please?
Yes, definitely. We'll do that right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There we go.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. And that's why you never got connected with anyone at New Urban West.
Right.
Just sort of a transitional thing going on there. Okay, Kurt, does that conclude your question?
Just my issue, just so that Arlene is aware that those things really need to be put in as soon as possible. It's not something that, you're
All right,
gonna.
let's save that for their segment.
Okay. Very good.
Thank you. Okay, any other? Oh, Mark has his hand up for Officer Dratt. Sorry.
Yes, I have hi. I have a question to Officer Dratt about the smart light cameras. Is any known location in Carmel Mountain Range where we're going to place it? Is going to be along the main street, like Carmel Mountain Road, or is going to be in our surface streets? We're going to be placed those cameras. Where we're actually going to be located?
So after I put that link in there, I'll let you research that site later. And then if you're not finding your answer there, you can follow up with me and I will try to get that answer from the experts who cover that information. But I know there's supposed to be a link on that page that does kind of show a map of where some of them already are. Does that make sense? Even though they're inoperable,
Okay.
like where they.
Okay, I'll take a look.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll take a look.
All right, any other questions for Officer Dratt before we move along? All right, thank you as always, Officer Dratt. And we will go ahead and, geez, See, this camera tweaks out less than my other one, but it's still not, it's not the camera, obviously. It's something else. Okay. Oh, okay. Somebody's joining. All right. CMR Fire? No. State Senator Brian Jones? No. Brian Mainshine's rep is not going to be here tonight. County Supervisor Joel Anderson's rep? No. Okay, then. Kyrie Carter with District 5 City Council Office for Marnie Von Wilpert.
Yes, thank you, Eric. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me again, as always. My name is Kyrie Carter, Community Representative for Councilmember Marnie Von Wilpert, proudly serving District 5. That includes Carmel Mountain Ranch and Sabre Springs, of course. I will try to keep it brief and open it up to questions as quickly as I can. I know you have a lot to cover. So just a couple of notes from Councilmember Von Wilpert. At this time, although she is no longer a member of the city's City Council's Active Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, finding short-term and long-term solutions to the city's infrastructure problems remains her #1 priority. It's the #1 complaint and question that we receive on a daily and hourly basis from you guys and other residents. That's our #1 priority, is getting our sidewalks and roads and streetlights and all of the things infrastructure related back to an acceptable state. And then, like I said, hopefully we can find some ways to upgrade and boost the systems and hiring and all the things that we are doing at the city so that these problems don't get to this level again. The update to the potential update to the street preservation ordinance and the outsourcing of street light repair, my apologies, is a good start. But we still have a long way to go, and we know we're gonna have a lot more work to do. So please continue to submit, get it done reports, call, email, visit our office anytime with these road complaints. It helps us build our case to the mayor's office and city staff of what our needs are as a community, and despite what city data or streets SD or other platforms and resources that they offer you might be saying, we know how bad our roads are. So again, that's our #1 priority. Additionally, the council member is the chair of the City Council's Public Safety Committee. She's looking forward to making progress on many issues facing our city, like the fentanyl epidemic, human trafficking, gun violence prevention, supporting first responders, and many more things. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns regarding public health and safety that you would like the council member and the committee to consider, feel free to call or email or visit our office anytime, and we can try to get your voices heard that way. Like I said, I'm always here to answer any questions or transfer you to any city staff that I can to help, and I will go ahead and open it up to any questions.
All right, fire away. Anyone? Going once?
Just get our roads paved.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It's really bad behind the shopping center here, right behind Ralph's and.
Yep.
Oh yeah, World Trade.
It's awful. It's awful. World Trade Drive.
So I can tell you World Trade, Carmel Mountain Road, Camino del Sur, those are the big 3, but we have a bunch of others on our priority list. Basically, we've resubmitted said list many times. The streets are not changing. It's the same problem streets. We keep submitting them. We're trying to make sure that we get as many approved and as many added to the potential approved lists that we can. But we know it's an uphill battle, and we're not going to stop. So we appreciate all of your patience through all of this.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, there being none, Kyrie, we appreciate you being here, and are you going to be sticking around?
I sure will.
Okay, we may wind up circling back. The mayor's office is not with us this evening, and we have a new rep from the planning department who I don't believe is here, Sean McGee. I don't think he's here tonight, but he did reach out to me. Our previous planning department liaison, Tony Kempton, passed away. Unfortunately, we hadn't seen Tony in a very, very long time. I know he was attending other city meetings, and I'm not sure exactly when this happened, but Tony is no longer with us as a group and no longer with us on Earth. So our condolences to his family, and we will welcome our new planning department rep next month. And okay, so that is Scott Peters. Anyone for Scott Peters? No. Okay. All right. Well, with that, it brings us to our action item tonight, which is the Quick Quack Car Wash. They are in the process of applying for a rezone of the lot at the corner of World Trade and Highland Ranch. We talked to them a few months ago, and the board did initially support the idea that they were going to be putting a car wash there, and they are here tonight to present a more complete plan. So I got Randy and Dan and others, and I know I forget who. Oh, Brad was that who needed the share?
Yes.
Okay, I will go
Yes,
ahead.
thank you.
You're welcome, Brad. I'm going to go ahead and your name keeps jumping around here. There it is. Okay, I'm going to make you a co-host. So you should be able to share.
All right, thank you. I will share, and I'll let Randy and Dan take it away.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you, Eric, and good evening, everybody, and thanks for having us. We appreciate it. I'm sorry to hear that about Tony. I've known Tony for a number of years. That's a bad surprise.
Yeah, we hadn't seen him for a while, but I'm really not sure what happened.
Yeah, well, that's too bad. But again, thanks for having us. And again, my name is Randy Coopersmith with Latitude 33 Planning Engineering. And with me tonight is Dan Curran, who is with Coast Income Properties. They are the owners of the particular site. And we also have Erica Hernandez of Quick Quack Car Wash and Brad Sonnenberg of Latitude 33, who is going to be hopefully assisting me with the graphics. As Eric said, if you remember, we came to you last year and wanted to get your feedback and support for locating a standalone car wash at the corner of World Trade Drive and Highlands Ranch. I think it was a productive discussion, and we came away with your support. We're very appreciative of that. We've come here tonight for a couple of reasons. We wanted to provide an update to you, and we also wanted to look for your support for the rezone, which we've submitted to the city, and then for the actual design. Since we came to you, we've been working as a team on the design. We've also submitted the rezone to the city, as I said. And just to remind you, the current zone is CC 35, and that zone allows a gas station with a car wash, but does not actually allow a standalone car wash, which is a technical issue and a little odd, but nonetheless. So we've submitted a rezone for the CC 13, which allows for a standalone car wash. Hopefully Brad can get the.
Yeah, he just rejoined, so.
Zoom keeps telling me that it keeps quitting on me every time I try to share. So pardon
okay.
the technical difficulties here.
Try again. Let's see how that. It's we see a black screen, and it says you have started screen sharing.
Kurt, I remember, I'm sure you remember the days when we used to go to hearings with actual boards, and it was pretty straightforward with all this great technology. Here we are.
Yeah.
Well, it says that Brad is the actual person sharing.
Yeah, it does say that. I see that. Brad, I'm gonna let's try. What if I just make you the host? I mean,
it's not a host issue. It's just probably either needs to share just the window and not the whole screen, or the whole screen and not the window. One of the two we usually kick it in gear.
Okay. So Brad, I guess if you're,
Are you saying share portion of screen?
Were you trying to share a whole screen or were you trying to share just?
Yeah, I
your-
was trying to share a whole screen.
Yeah, just share the presentation only then. The PowerPoint or executable.
It's a PDF.
That's fine. Just open the PDF and share that only.
yeah, I guess get it in its own tab and see if you can share just that tab or just that application. Or if you, if we continue to have issues, you can email it to me and I'll share it. Assuming that I won't also have trouble.
Well, while we're doing this, let me see if I could just say a couple things. I think from the beginning, our team knew and recognized that we can't just do a standard prototype off-the-shelf design. Quick Quack Car Wash has well over 100 different facilities around the Southwest United States. And when we have been meeting with them, again, the team clearly recognized that Carmel Valley deserves a much higher standard product with custom materials and a site design that reflects the actual design and location of the corner of the two major streets. And we know this is one of the last pieces for development in your community. So hopefully when the pictures come up, you'll see what we've been working on.
Brad, why don't you try emailing me that PDF?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do. I'm gonna send it over right now. It'll just be hopefully just a second.
Okay.
Well, thanks for bearing with us, everybody.
That's what happens, you know, we get,
Yeah.
if we were in person, we'd be struggling with a slide projector or some similar device.
Well, Kurt and I would have been using boards. We know that we can handle those.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, flip charts.
Never fail.
It never failed, yeah. Except
Well,
people said they couldn't see them, right? You had them facing one way, not the other way.
I don't know if y'all remember the episode of the Brady Bunch where Mike's sketches got lost, but
We're close to it, huh?
It just sounds familiar.
yeah. Okay, I'm looking for that, but I don't see it yet.
Eric, you just went right over Kyrie's head. No idea what you're talking about.
Well, I wouldn't remember it either, except I have a teenage daughter who's fascinated with 1970s television shows and rewatching all of them. Some better than others.
Same. My 15-year-old knows the Brady Bunch better than I do.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Let me see if I can, okay, so this is the PDF that you'd like me to share then. Okay, let me get this thing in its own window. And I'm gonna try sharing my screen. And of course, my camera is wigging out, so I'm turning that off. Can folks see that?
There we go.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Okay.
So I guess just let me know where I need to be.
So, yeah, so I will, you're able to forward it when I ask, Eric?
Yeah, I can scroll. Yes, I can. Yep, I can forward it. Yep.
Great, thank you. So again, from the beginning, we recognize that Carmel Valley has higher.
Carmel Mountain.
Carmel Mountain, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
We've had too much of a delay. Where Carmel Mountain Ranch has higher expectations on what they should get from a design. And we decided early on, you couldn't just do the prototype off the shelf. So we wanted a higher standard. As such, we've incorporated things such as a stone wainscot, we have tile, we have warm and we think varied colors. We have a building siding that we think is appropriate for the property, screening along the main streets with plants, and landscaping that we think is very innovative and is appropriate for today. So this first slide you're looking at, and again, I want to tell you, you'll see a couple of them. These are very accurate, and some of the next ones, You can see the fire hydrant. That fire hydrant is actually exactly right there. So these are real. These are not just drawings you can see from the poles. That's exactly what it looks like. So this is right from the corner, and you can see the building. It's about a 3,600 square foot building. We've got our two entrances off of Highland, World Trade Drive. And you can see that we have the wainscot stone on the bottom. We've got tile. We've got varied colors. We've got, we think, smart signing. We've got a lot of landscaping. And this is a view from this corner. If you could move it to the next one, please. Thank you. Here's another view from a similar site. And again, this is very accurate. It actually has the fire hydrant and the pole, light poles as you see it. And we think this is a very well-designed from a site plan and from an architectural and materials. Car wash, it's certainly not your typical car wash. We think it'll be a compliment to the community. Next, please. Thank you. This is from Highlands Ranch Road, and you can see the screening. We have rocks and stone. We have bushes that will, block any of the sights of the cars, and there won't be any lighting because it'll be during the daytime. And we've got trees and planting along here. We think it's well designed. Next, please. And this is a plan view of the site plan. You can, again, we have an entrance and an exit off of Highlands Ranch, and we have stacking that we know works from a design standpoint, plenty of stacking. And then we've got places in the middle that after the cars are washed, that they actually have, the vacuuming and the drying and those type of things. So we think this is, again, well designed. It's appropriate for the site. We've incorporated custom materials, both landscaping and architecturally, that we think is consistent with what your expectations would be. And at this point, what I'd like to do is turn it, if you could, Eric, could you just turn it over to the next one, which I think is the renderings, or back to one of the renderings there. Thank you. I'd like to turn over to Dan Curran briefly, again, the owner of the property, and Erica Hernandez, who's with Quick Quack, to talk about some of the operations. We're sure you'll have questions about that and water usage. And if they can cover that, that would be great.
All right. So, Eric, this is Dan, and I really appreciate the group letting us come and present tonight. When we met with you last time, we heard that you wanted something a little bit a step above. At the time you had asked me who our potential tenant was going to be, and we didn't have a deal yet with Quick Quack, but we had several car wash groups interested. But we found Quick Quack to be the most amenable for this kind of a community because they were willing to work with us. Because when we told them, if we did something here, it would have to be next level, they were willing to do that. And so, we really like the group. We think that they get it. They know the community. They've been out to the site many times. So anyway, we just feel really comfortable with Quick Quack, and we think that it's the right thing for this site. And I'm going to let Erica speak to kind of the operations and her team. There's more than just Eric on Greg and Chad are here too, and they can speak to what they actually do, how the operations work, the water savings, the environmental stuff, the quiet vacuums and those kinds of things. So with that, I will turn it over to Erica, but I just want to thank you guys for letting us come and present again.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Erica. I'm the pre-construction manager for Quick Quack for the Southern California region. Our goal from Quick Quack is to always be a good neighbor. We employ people who live in the community, and we do our best to contribute to the community and be in a positive kind of way. And for our team members and neighbors, we participate in many of the local municipality programs for welcoming new residents to the city. We also participate in local events and fundraisers. We also offer a day at a wash where we offer an alternate from the typical group car wash with hoses and soaps. Our goal and motto is smart, kind, and driven. Besides being a car wash, we partner with local sports to have fundraisers. We give back to our community. We become one. We become, as you notice, our design is site specific. The fundraisers consist of 1 day of request donations for the family. Quick Quack will double the donation up to a maximum amount, and we present the family with what we raised for the day at the ribbon cutting ceremony. Our efforts have been successful, and we are very proud of how we give back. In regards to the operation, I'll let either Greg or Chad, if there's any questions, they were willing to have a response to them.
Erica, could you just have somebody from Quick Quack talk about the water recycling and the reduction of noise and on vacuums and things like that? I think that would be some of the questions that the group would likely have. Thank you.
Chad or Greg?
Yeah, hi guys, this is Chad Terry. I'm a construction manager with Quick Quack Car Wash. One of the things we're most proud of is reclaiming the water we use in the wash and capturing that water, cleaning that water, and reintroducing it into the wash equipment. We get the water almost as clean as your tap water is at your kitchen sink, if not even cleaner. That water is all clean before it goes into the storm drain system, not the I'm sorry, the sewer system, not the storm drain system. I'm sorry, stumbled on my notes there. That's one of the benefits with an express car wash like Quick Quack is we don't introduce any water with any chemicals into the storm drain. We treat the water, and any water that is expelled into the city's sewer system, not the storm drains. So it's not draining into the oceans or the rivers and streams. It's contained.
Now, right now, it's zoned for a gas station that automatically can have a car wash.
But they want to just do a car wash.
They want to do just
Can
a
they
car
hear me?
wash. No, we're muted.
Not everybody. If you think you're muted, you might not be muted. So please mute yourself.
So who has the mic now?
I don't know. I think we had some crosstalk with some other folks. So whoever was, any of our presenters can pick it up, please.
This is Chad again. If anybody's got any questions on our water usage, I'm more than happy to answer them at this time.
Okay, let's does that conclude the
yeah, it does. Again, the one thing that I was impressed with, and if maybe Chad, you could just speak to it, how much of your water that you use is actually recycled. And then after that, what we will certainly open for questions. And what we're looking for tonight again is your support on, first we want you to understand the project, get your feedback, but we'd like you to take a vote on the rezone of the property and the actual design. But before that, Chad, if you could just speak to how much of the water is recycled. I was very impressed with learning about that.
And
Sure,
also, Chad, also, if you could talk about the reduced noise levels, because I think that's really important, you know, with how the vacuum system works and that.
Certainly. So the water that does get expelled goes through an extensive cleaning system in our underground reclaim tanks. We capture all the water we can. We shoot for 100% capture rate, and we reintroduce that water into our wash to clean the wash and to power our equipment. We also we introduce fresh water for each car, and it's a lot less than what you would introduce if you were to wash your car yourself at your home. When you're at home washing your vehicle, you typically use anywhere to 60 to 80 gallons of water, and we're introducing 20 to 22 gallons of water per vehicle. And then, like I said, any water that is expelled from the wash is expelled into the sewer system, not the storm drain. And of course, that's after it's been reclaimed and cleaned and scrubbed for any contaminants. What was the second part you were looking for? Some
the vacuuming.
The vacuuming, our sound. Yes. So we bring a sound consultant out to measure before construction and after, to test the sound and make sure we're within the city's local code requirement for noise. You know, we've gotten creative with the exit of our, what we call our showroom, which is where the cars come through the wash. The exit is designed to help mitigate some of the noise escaping our showroom. And when our vacuums outside, our self-service vacuums are powered by a central producer. We keep that inside of a vacuum equipment enclosure that's got a roof over it to help greatly reduce any ambient noise that would travel from the self-service vacuums as well.
Okay, so I am gonna go ahead. I'm gonna leave this image on the screen while folks ask questions. And if anybody needs me to move to a different image, a different angle, let me know. I see Rich and Kurt both have hands up, so I'll go to Rich first.
Hi, thank you. So I'm very happy with this drawing. The last time you presented, one of my top concerns was the location and some of the horrible traffic that we have with a school nearby and everything. And I appreciate that there's no exit or entrance on Highland Ranch itself. They're both on World Trade. I love that. The only concern I have, and it's probably, I don't know if it's something you can control, is when folks exit, it looks like if folks are exiting left, it looks pretty dangerous. I don't know if it's possible to have a right turn only exit, but other than that, thank you for no entrance or exit on Highland Ranch.
Rick, thanks for your comments. We appreciate that. And obviously, we're going to be working with the city. We just received the comments back from the city on our rezone. We're going to have to do work with the traffic engineer, and our suspicion is we're going to be making a right turn only.
Thank you. Kurt?
I just have a couple comments and then a couple other landscape statements. So when the car goes through the wash and comes out, are you providing hand drying and or an area for the car owner to, like a Soapy Joe's kind of thing? Do they clean their car in the interiors, you know, during that time, or how does that work?
Yeah, so this is Chad again. I'd love to answer that. We have a blower system inside the building that will blow off a majority of the water before the car leaves the building. And then there is an area we call our pond, which is, you'll see here, where the parking stalls are. And those are covered parking stalls with our central vacuum system piping that runs underneath them with a vacuum nozzle at each of those columns there, with trash and towels and everything a customer would need to finish drying off their vehicle and vacuuming them themselves.
Okay, that's cool. A couple things in regards to the landscape requirements for Carmel Mountain Ranch, although who knows what they have and have not changed these days. I know the signage, they have a certain theme that they like you to stay close to in order to match up with the Carmel Mountain Ranch theme. You know, a lot of companies have done, you know, the mountain kind of shape thing that they do on some of the signage, or you do it with your wording or whatever and incorporate it with your logo. That takes a little, you know, creativity. There's also landscape requirements for the city of San Diego that have to be met. And there's a landscape ordinance. Randy knows all about that. And I guess if you have covered parking, then you don't have to worry about trees, because trees seems to be kind of a big deal within the city, as my experience as when I was a landscape architect. One thing that's important is, I think, you know, you match up the trees with the streetscape. So in other words, if you have sycamores on Highland Ranch Road or World Trade Drive, whatever, I would say just pay attention to what those trees are, so you can, you know, have your landscape architect that's doing your project for you match those up. I'd encourage the use more of evergreen trees, because that helps us with the the screening and the visual softening of the facility. And then I was glad to see that you had the car screened from within, so you got to at least get 36 inches up on the perimeters of the project to screen out the cars that are parked on the inside. And I don't have anything against deciduous trees and as far as access. So, but I'm just saying that that's important. And that's all I had.
Thanks, Kurt. We appreciate it, and you're right. We are familiar with the city's requirements. We're actually making sure again that we've got not only those, but we've got drought tolerant plants. We've got plants that are consistent with the patterns and usage within Carmel Mountain Ranch too. So thanks for your comments.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Bruce?
Yeah, I have 3 questions, but I think I can maybe merge 2 and 3. First question is, what are the hours going to be?
7 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Okay. Second question, kind of merging them together, and this may sound harsh, so please don't take it that way, but I mean, I'm trying to be straightforward here. You mentioned the vacuum hoses and the covered parking area, but that's not represented in this picture, and that does change the look of things. I feel like this is a misrepresentation of what's there. And I'd like to know why you think this is next level. I mean, I go to Soapy Joe's and other car washes. It looks exactly like everyone else. Why do you think this is next level?
I'll try to take a little stab at that. Again, I think we're not trying to hide anything. We want to be accurate. And again, we'd be glad to provide you with, if you wanted what it looks like with the vacuums, and they're actually very interesting architecturally designed. I think you'd be pleasantly surprised if you want to see those. But I think from our perspective, we talked with Quick Quack and we looked at their other facilities around the Southwest, and I think this one is substantially upgraded from those and custom to specific to this site, and this is a one of a kind of their design. So that was our objective, and hopefully when you see this, when you look at it, you can see that and appreciate that. I mean, that was our intent, and it was honest.
So what is it? Why is it custom to Carmel Mountain? I mean, again, this looks like any car wash I've been through. I don't see anything unique here. I mean, you got a couple plants around the edges and a building that has some colors that we use, but that's it. What's special about it?
We've got stone on the bottom. It's a little hard to see on the wainscot, and we've got a tile, and these are unique colors. There we go. Well, we've got colors that haven't been used before. So I think between the colors and materials and some of the design, again, from our perspective, it is a one of a kind, and we think it's just to Carmel Valley.
Randy, this is Chad. If I may, again, just real quick, I think it's a little more than that is the way we perform our operations. We're smart, we're kind, we're driven. We're kind to our customers, we're kind to our team members, and we're kind to each other, and we really put an effort into the community. Erica touched on it a little bit in the beginning. We do a preview fundraiser when we do a grand opening, and we find a local charity or a local family that's in need, local to the community there. And we our first day that we're open, we take donations only. We don't charge for car washes, strictly donations only. And then what happens the next day at the ribbon cutting, we present a check to that family or that charity or foundation after we've doubled it. And then we have a big party, and then we start with 10 days of free car washes to let the community know we're there and that we're serious and that we want to be a part of the community going forward and giving back the best we can.
That's it, David. Thanks.
Bruce, does that conclude your question and remarks?
Yeah, I feel it's a little disingenuous, but I'm good with that. It's fine. It's a car wash.
Okay. So I'm going to finish out any board member questions and comments. And I see we do have some members of the public. So I will circle back to you. I see your hands. John Schroeder.
Yes, Eric, I see that there's a seventh page on this presentation. Is that just kind of like a back page or what is that?
Yeah, looks to be blank.
Okay. Yeah, so I was here for the last presentation back in August, and there weren't really any pictures, but there was a pretty good explanation, a description of what this car wash might look like. And I don't see really any surprises here, so it's kind of what I expected. My concern last time was congestion on the streets, cars maybe waiting or something like that for a cut, to get washed. But it seems like there's to me, a room for cars to line up and wait, and then, quite a few stalls for toweling down and vacuuming and everything. So I mean, from that, perspective, it looks fine to me. It also looks like it fits in to Carmel Mountain Ranch. And, to me, it looks like, kind of like Bruce said, any other car wash in Carmel Mountain Ranch, but that doesn't mean that, I haven't seen other quick quack car washes. Maybe they look a lot less appealing than the one we're looking at here. I don't really know, but I think that this fits in with the neighborhood, and, it's hard to see the detail of the stone and things, but, that kind of architecture and everything, it looks good to me. So I think it looks good. I would approve of it.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John. Thank you.
Larry.
Yeah, I actually like the design of it. I think I mean, a car wash is a car wash, but, I can see that, you've done some stuff to really make it look good, and, you've thrown in some nice colors. So I think it fits the Carmel Mountain Ranch. My question is, I'm going to circle right back to the traffic issue. I mean, I go to a car wash in Penasquitos that's very similar to this, and you folks say that you're going to be nice folks and attract as many people as you can, and car washes are very, very busy places, and that's a really busy intersection. So I guess what I'm where I'm headed with this whole thing is, do you also have a formal traffic study that you've done that kind of includes the extra 900 or 1,000 units that are coming in town, along with what we've already got? I mean, there's crosswalks there on each side. Obviously, you're aware of that, and the whole Home Depot shopping center is across the way. That's going to be a very busy place, and a lot of times, I mean, what I've found is, all the stalls are filled up, and people have to start circling to find a stall. So I guess directly, that's my question. Have you done a traffic study that has been put into the city? And that's my question.
So Larry, let me try to answer that. Now, those are very good questions. So I think there's kind of two parts of it. One is from an operational standpoint, how it works. I can assure you that the operator Quick Quack knows exactly what they're doing. They have well over 100 of these, and this design has been over the years so that they know that it works. They have to have adequate stacking to keep cars, off the road. They have to have enough spaces for the people to vacuum and dry their cars. So from an operational standpoint, I can guarantee you that it absolutely does work. And from a traffic standpoint, from an offsite, yes, the city is looking at us to provide working with the traffic engineer as part of the rezone. They will be doing an independent analysis of that. That will be made public to, to anybody, including you and the planning group. So we're going to work with the city closely. We're confident that our traffic engineer knows what they're doing. And from an operational standpoint, that it works very well on site. So hopefully that answers some of your questions.
Okay, I mean, when do you think that traffic study will be completed?
Well, we're in process with the city on the rezone. We just received their first the comments, and then when we resubmit, we will be submitting our traffic analysis with that.
Okay, I assume that you're going to give us a copy of that or make that available to us?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Sure. Okay, all right. Other than that, I give it a thumbs up.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have Karen Vogue.
Okay, am I good?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, good. So is this all going to be like a self-serve where you vacuum your car yourself and then drive it into the back, or you drive it through the wash yourself? I'm curious.
Yes, yes, it is.
Okay.
You drive it through the showroom and you do your own vacuum.
Okay, all right. The other thing is that, well, I've been out of it longer than I was in it, but I was an insurance underwriter many years ago, and I used to insure businesses. And some of them would have like underground storage tanks for gasoline. And I know that, it's zoned for a gas station, but you're going to rezone it as just a standalone car wash. But my underwriting hat came on, and when you guys were talking about treating the water. And so I wanted to know, I probably don't even know what the chemicals are anymore, but what type of chemicals you're treating that water with? And then are you storing those chemicals on premises?
Erica, could you answer those?
Actually, Ephraim, do you want to step in, please?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Ephraim Corona. I'm the Vice President of Development for Quick Quack Car Wash. So to answer your question on the soaps that we use, so all of our soaps are stored on site. We have shipments that come in periodically. It depends on what kind of volume the store does. So it could be once a week, it could be twice a week, it could be once every 2 weeks. It just depends. Our soap providers, we have an agreement with our soap providers, and they'll deliver them, and they have all of their required safety guidelines that they have to follow. All of our soaps that we use are all water soluble, and they're environmental friendly. So there's nothing in the soaps that will hurt the environment or the water. And as they're distributed throughout the wash, they're being diluted with fresh water. The tanks that we have in the ground are 3 1,500-gallon reclaim tanks. Those tanks are capturing everything that goes into the wash. So it's clarifying, it's settling, and then at the last tank, as it discharges whatever we don't use out into the sewer system, it's clear water. So there's no chemicals that are listed on any of California's hazardous material lists. And we also, as a second check, will usually communicate with the local county officials. We usually give them, a list of our soaps that we use, and they'll let us know if there's anything locally that has to be regulated, or if there's something that, some other special type of holding process that we have to follow.
Okay. So you're saying it's considered soaps. You're not having like chlorine or whatever there.
No, it's all soap. And I've heard the conversation throughout tonight about the car wash with the gas station. The gas stations are the ones that use the chemicals. You hear a lot of the touchless conversation about touchless car wash. Well, that's where those harmful chemicals are used. And in order to wash a car, as most of you have probably done in your front yard for, in the past, you got to have friction to wash a car. So you have to have something touching the car to get that dirt off. The touchless, those types of chemicals are much more harsh on the environment. They're harsh on the car, harsh on the clear coat. For us, it's all, all water soluble soaps is what we use.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for answering my question.
Thank you, Karen. Okay, I see a hand from, I'm going to try not to mess up your name, said Sharvet. Said you can unmute. There you
Okay.
go.
I said thank you for the presentation and also thank you for inviting me. I have a few questions, but the one that I'm very concerned is lighting. He mentioned there's no lighting. The area is very dark and there's no activity there at nighttime. So I don't want it to be a source of crime and there. That's one thing. The other one is Kurt mentioned, I like to see a little bit more plantation. The cars coming, it's a lot of exhaust. Not all of them are electric. And a little bit more greens will be helpful, maybe to keep the area clean and kind of tucked behind the trees. Another one I like to say is, I see a lot of people responding to the type of the building. This building belongs to 1960s. That's how they build all these fast food restaurants. It's exactly the same design. So can you make it a little bit more modern, like what it is, the other shopping center? They're white, gray. That will go better with the community. This is completely out of space. Unless you want to go to, I don't know, somewhere South LA, then it may fit there. But it really doesn't fit this beautiful neighborhood. It lowers the standard, unfortunately. So a little bit different change in colors, I think would be good. And thank you.
Thank you for your questions. Those are all good questions and comments. Let me try to start. When I said there wasn't the lighting, I didn't mean that there is no lighting. What I meant is there's minimal operations at night, so you're not going to have lighting required for the operations. That this will be lit for safety. It's not only a concern, as you mentioned, for any kind of crime, but obviously they have millions of dollars invested in this property and they want it protected. So they're going to have adequate lighting, but make sure the lighting doesn't shine offsite or isn't offensive. So I think the lighting is going to be appropriate for the site. And I understand your comment on the architecture, but I would tell you architecture is like anything else. What kind of milkshake do you like? Those are somewhat subjective. And I think we looked at it and felt this was an appropriate design for this area. And I think overall, we're hearing a positive response from the other board members. So I think it is subjective. I appreciate your comment. But if we came in with a different design, there'd be just as many people saying, why can't we do a different design? And hopefully we think this responds to what works here. But I do appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
So I see all the hands down. So I just have a quick question. So the question to the board for the vote is for agreeing to a rezone, correct?
There are two questions on the agenda. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing this now. I think we've all seen it. Hang on. Geez. All right. That was the wrong.
I'm asking because I'm ready to make a motion.
Okay. Yeah. Let me get the agenda back up so I can. How do I do this here? Okay. I started sharing and now I can't stop. Oh, there he is. There's my button. Okay, here we go. Very good. All right. Where did my agenda go? I have two two questions on the agenda, and I believe they're two separate. Let me see how this is worded here. All right, rezone of lot and approval of car wash design. Yeah, so it's kind of two separate votes. If you want to put a motion together that would incorporate both, I'm sure that's fine. But it's essentially two different questions, I guess.
So I'm going to do the easy one. I didn't hear anyone completely opposed to it. So I want to just start with the motion to approve the rezone, to agree to that. I think we probably have a unanimous on that, so I'll make that motion.
We have a second on that?
Yeah, I'll second that. Kurt, yes.
Okay, so a motion from Rich Kregge and a second from Kurt Carlson on the first question. Do we support the rezone of the lot from the current CC35 to, what is the official zone we're going for, folks?
CC13?
CC13?
Yes.
Okay, so the question is, do we support the rezone from CC35 to CC13? And we have a motion and a second, so we can proceed through the roster here. And Bruce, I see your hand up. Why don't you go ahead when you ask your question when we come to you on
Well, actually, we need debate before you can take a vote.
debate?
Yeah.
I thought that's what we just did.
Yeah, but once you state a motion, it needs to have an opportunity for discussion before you call the vote.
Okay, any discussion?
My only comment is, Rich, you said there was no one objecting to it. If you look at the comments, there's several people objecting to it. No car wash, please. This is terrible. Not in Carmel Mountain. I don't think it is unanimous.
I think Rich was referring to board members, Bruce.
Okay. Well, we have a responsibility to represent what the community is saying.
Well, I think it's important for the community to understand that this is currently zoned for a gas station. So if it is not rezoned, somebody will come and build a gas station. And if a gas station is not built, we all know the city of San Diego is super hot on housing. So if folks would like the city to come in eventually and rezone this as a residential tower, that is something that could also occur. I didn't make any comments, but since it's been raised, I will make comments now. And I believe this building, you know, it looks enough like anything else that's here. I mean, Home Depot is not a beautiful building. Ralph's is not particularly architecturally pleasing. I mean, it fits with the community. This has been a dirt lot forever. And so if we want to continue having a dirt lot, a gas station, or potentially eventually a residential tower, we can object to a car wash. I think it's a pretty innocuous land use. I don't have any problem with it. I am in full support of this personally. So that's my position. I understand there are community members that object. However, you know, it's up to us to make a decision regarding the rezone. And I don't know. I mean, when you're talking about debate, Bruce, I don't know that means that we then go back to, you know, the chat and the community to get points of debate. I mean, the board has made their comments. Anybody in the community that wishes to join the board has been welcome, and we have empty seats. So, you know, bring them on, but we're here doing the work. So motion and second. If there's any board member debate, let's have it. Otherwise, let's have a vote and move on.
It's just adding, when I said unanimous, I was talking about the board members.
Yeah, that's what I assumed you meant that. I mean, I'm not able to monitor the chat. And if anybody had a comment that they wanted recorded into the record, the chat is recorded, but the meeting is being recorded. If somebody had a comment they felt strongly enough about, there has been opportunity to provide those. We do have other agenda items to get to, but you know, if you feel we need more debate, then you know, let's have it.
Well, I think, well, I know Bruce is correct with the Robert's Rules of Order. After the motion, you have to have discussion before the vote.
Well,
So I think,
let's have it.
I'm thinking Bruce was talking about additional board discussion before the vote, so.
Well, if there, I mean, anybody's welcome to chime in. I'm not trying to quash that. I'm just trying to move things along.
Okay, I'd like to chime in a little bit. So some of the things are the comments, just to comment on those, this, somebody was saying that why can't this be Spanish? Well, we all know why it can't be Spanish. We're not Old Town, we're Carmel Mountain Ranch, so we have to keep it within the architectural guidelines that are provided to every builder that comes to this community. And so they're given the architectural guidelines, they're given the signage guidelines, they're given the landscape guidelines. So these guys, from what I can tell on the illustrations, it appears, and we're only going to get one shot at this, you guys. So you got to think about that. And Eric has a great point. If you want more housing, we could turn this down. But the fact is that they don't really need our approval. They could probably just take it to the city based on the attitude of the city council days. The way they are now, they could just turn us down. So
they are before us tonight as a courtesy. They don't need our recommendation.
And the other thing is some of the comments I saw in here are people I haven't come to our meetings, and I'd like to see them come in the future. But it's the first time they've seen this, and maybe they don't understand some of the things that the community has to that has the developers do when they do these kinds of submittals. About the logo and the cartoon thing and all that, that's their logo. But if they adapt it into the Carmel Mountain Ranch signage thing, I think it can be nice. I think it'll look okay. The colors are always an issue. And I think that's something that works out at the end, though. It's not something that we're going to worry about and solve tonight. And I think that somebody said they don't mind dirt lots. Well, this board does mind dirt lots. We got to get that lot filled. And this is a very good suggestion. We don't want to put a restaurant there. There's no way we're going to we got enough food in this community to last Penasquitos, Mira Mesa, and Rancho Bernardo. So we've got enough food.
If a restaurant were a viable option, you can bet the property owner would try and find a restaurant.
I'm in full support of this project, and that's my opinion.
Okay, is there any other board member debate? And I don't mean to be pushy about it. It's just, we have a finite schedule here, and we've already told these folks that we're in support of their idea. It's a car wash. It's not going to be MC Escher's great design. It's not going to be a mid-century modern masterpiece. It is a car wash, and it is something that we don't have in Carmel Mountain Ranch. So anyway, is there any other board member debate before I call for a vote? And I apologize for departing from Robert's Rules of Order. However, that's been fairly loose over the years. And if you want Robert's Rules of Order guy, I'm doing my best, but that's not my forte. And if somebody else wants to jump in and be the chairman, let's have at it. So any other board member debate?
Eric, I think we're ready for a vote.
Okay, then I will, John, can you take care of that based on who's here for us?
Yeah, so the first motion for the rezone, Eric, your vote?
Yes.
Rich Craigie?
Yes.
I'll vote yes. Kurt Carlson?
Yes.
Kurt says yes.
Yes.
Bruce Bergman?
Yes.
Larry Fontaine?
Yes.
Kirsten Greer?
Yes.
Okay. So
Okay.
the first motion passes unanimously.
All right. So that is the motion for the rezone. Now, regarding the approval of the car wash design, do we have a motion to move that forward?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the design as presented.
I'll second it.
Okay. Comments, debate?
I think Kurt talked about the color scheme, which should maybe just be looked at in terms of the community colors and a modern color palette. Again, like kind of around the edges, but vegetation and color, I think would go a long way.
Okay, so the architects and Quick Quack folks, will you be willing to come back and discuss final color palette with us once this is moving forward?
This is Ephraim. Yeah, we're flexible, and we're willing to work with the community to come up with something that's beneficial to everybody.
Thank you. I see iPhone has their hand up. I'm not sure who iPhone is, but you have your hand up. Who?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, this is Larry Herring. I have a quick question on the design and how it looks at the colors. Will it match at all with the library? Right next door across the street is the library. I think the library looks very pleasant right there. And if it could have the colors kind of match the library, I think that would be worthwhile.
Yeah, I think that that was, that's one of our concerns as well. And we did ask, and they did say they would be willing to come back to us and have a conversation about the final color palette.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other board member comment or debate on the motion to approve the current design with the caveat that they will come back and discuss colors with us? All right, Mr. Secretary, call the vote.
Okay, so it's a revised motion then to approve the design with the caveat that they come back to discuss colors.
Yes.
Okay. And then is there a second then on that revised motion? I'll
Who
revise
second?
my motion.
Oh yeah, Larry, you seconded, I believe. Is that okay with you? All right, good. So a motion and a second.
Okay.
And if we're okay to call for a vote, then I'm all for that.
Okay, so the vote on that revised motion, Eric?
Yes.
Rich Kregge?
Yes.
I'll vote yes. Kurt Carlson?
Yes.
Bruce Bergman?
Yes.
Larry Fontaine?
Yes.
Kirsten Greer?
Yes.
Okay, so the second motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Okay, so that actually will conclude item K, Quick Quack Car Wash.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, folks.
Really appreciate your time, appreciate your comments and your thoughts, and we look forward to continue to work with you. And again, appreciate your time tonight.
Yes, keep us posted, and we'll be happy to have you come back and continue the discussion once you get what you need from the city.
Thank you very much. Have a
Thanks,
great
guys.
day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. So that brings us to item L, Lennar Homes. This is an information item. The transfer of the former golf course property has occurred. So New Urban West is no longer dealing with the property. It has been sold to Lennar Homes, and they are here with us this evening. Arlene Tendick and others, I assume, and please let me know if you need any screen sharing or otherwise, and then you can feel free to take it away, and then we'll have our question and comments afterwards.
Great, thank you. Our project manager was supposed to join me and I don't see him in the participant list. So it's just me for tonight, but this won't be the last time that we visit you. So you'll meet him soon. If you can give me screen sharing, Eric, that would be helpful.
Of course.
I got some maps today, actually, or else I would have requested it sooner. So anyways, my name is Arlene Tendick. Thank you for having me. I'm the community engagement person for Lennar Homes So I just wanted to come and introduce myself and share a little bit about what we're going on or what's going on throughout this transition period that Eric mentioned. So we have fully assumed ownership of the project site, former golf course. I've gotten a couple questions about this over the last couple weeks that I've been working on this. Lennar is committed to building the project as it was approved. So there has been a reduction in units. The unit count right now is 827. So there is a reduction in unit counts, but no other changes. So not a change in the amount or location of open space, just that reduction in unit counts, which I'm sure you all will be okay with. Let me see if this will work now. Here we go. All right, so I'll share my screen. As I mentioned, the transition from New Urban West has taken place. I was just given all of the maintenance requests yesterday. So my team and I are working on following up with everyone who had submitted a maintenance request over the last several weeks. So you'll be hearing from us if you haven't already. Many of the maintenance requests were related to trees that had fallen or died, or just brush management in general, which will be taken care of through the preparation of the site that's happening for grading. So I know there was one commenter earlier that had asked about tree surveys. So we did begin removing some trees in preparation for grading a couple weeks ago. All of the necessary bird surveys were completed as required. So those surveys are typically 72 hours before any trees are removed, and we have satisfied all of those requirements. We have also established a construction portal that is lennarsdbuilds.com. In addition to the email address that I posted in the chat, you can also submit comments in the portal as well. So we want to make sure that we're as transparent as possible through this process. Living next to a construction site can be challenging, and so we want to be available. We want to be transparent. I do have some preliminary timelines to share with you all today, but if something pops up that we need to be aware of or that we need to handle or do differently, by all means, please let us know. There was another comment about security, specifically of the tunnels. So in preparation for grading, we will be repairing any breaches in the fence just to make sure that we're restricting access to the construction site. That includes the tunnels. So I have been in touch with our project manager, Jim, and our field director, Jamie. So both of those guys will do a site visit. We'll be in touch with Officer Jett, make sure that she and her team have all the information that they need so that everything is secure and safe. Again, if you notice anything, please let us know, but also we encourage you to call the non-emergency line too. If it's after business hours or not necessarily construction related, that would be our recommendation there. All right, so phase one is these 3 units. So 1, 8, and 9, and they're right here in the center. The milestones that are included here are tentative start dates. So grading in these areas is anticipated to start later this month, with street improvements happening in May and June, and then constructions of homes later in the fall, so September, October. The next phases are 10, 16, and 2. So there's 10, 16, and 2. The grading on these areas will start in April, with street improvements in June, and then construction towards the latter end of 2023. So September for 10 and 16, and then early 24 for unit 2. The last 2 units are 17 and 6. Grading for those will start April and May respectively, and then street improvements over the summer, and then construction in 2024. For unit 17, that'll be in the spring of 24. And then for unit 6, that'll be towards the end of 2024. We don't put end dates on the milestones just because things can change and we don't want to set false expectations. And so we give you the start dates, but on our construction portal, we've created this graphic. And what it does is just give you a general time frame of what you can expect from start to finish for housing construction. So grading, which is by far the most obnoxious part of the process. So that takes roughly 3 to 6 months of the actual earth movement. And then you can kind of see that the nuisance level goes down as we progress through the process itself. With the exception of grading, each stage takes about 4 to 6 weeks, and stages 2 through 7, which is pouring the foundation and actually completing the home, takes about 7 months. So again, this graphic is on our website. So it's not a perfect science, but it's a good average to have an idea of our timing and what we're working on. I have drafted a community notice. And so that'll be going out shortly. I'm hoping this week, depending on how quickly we can get the printer to turn that around. So we will be notifying the entire community. You know, a big goal of mine, just as the community engagement person, is to make sure that we get off on the right foot. I know that the planning and entitlement process for this project was a long one. And so I want to make sure that this transition is as seamless as possible. Not perfect, but as close to perfect as we can get it. So, you know, I want to be a resource to the community, want to be able to answer questions. If I can't answer a question, I will track it down for you. So I'm your first line of defense, and then I'll chase it down with either Jamie or Jim. And if we need to escalate beyond them, then that's something I'll take care of as well. So, you know, it's just a simple presentation, but really just available for questions. And like I said at the beginning, this won't be the last time you see me. So yeah, with that, I guess, Eric, are you good if we open it up to questions?
Yes, and I'm gonna go through any. Well, let's just take them in order. Kurt, you had your hand up first.
Yeah, thanks, Arlene. That was very helpful to see that, the schedule especially. I like the graphics. As far as the plans, we were promised to get a copy of the finished plans. Can we get a copy of those plans soon, so that, you know, some of us live on the golf course, and so I happen to live on phase 1. I'd like to follow it. And then another question is, since it's phase 1, we're in phase 1 up by the clubhouse. When's the clubhouse going to get demoed?
Good questions. So yes, I will post the plans to the website. They are gigantic files. So I'll start with the slides that I presented tonight, just so you have a quick overview, but I'll get the complete deck posted as soon as I can. And then I saw the question about Clubhouse or demo of the Clubhouse pop up in the chat. I think that was you as well, Kurt. So I did text Jamie asking him when that'll be. My guess would be it'll happen this month, within the next couple weeks. They are anticipating to start grading by the end of this month. So that would be a part of that process. But as soon as he normally responds pretty quickly. So we'll see if we can get you an answer while everyone's still on the line.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, iPhone. I already forgot who you were. iPhone. Was that Kirsten who was on the iPhone?
No, I'm me.
Oh,
My phone
okay, go ahead.
All right, since I came off mute, on the parks piece, would those parks and those phases coincide, or are the parks on a different timeline? I couldn't quite track that, Arlene, or if that's the city more like.
Good question. Let me find out, because I'm not positive. So public parks are usually, or park space usually comes in at the end. But let me find out for sure. The website will also have an FAQs section, so I'll make sure that timing, delivery of parks and community benefits is included in that FAQs area. I don't have your name or contact information, iPhone, but if you want to send me a note, either in the chat or through our construction portal, lennarsdbuilds.com, I'm happy to chase that down for you.
Okay, cool. And then second I had was related to fencing on areas that will neither be developed into housing or be a park. There are some areas that are intended to live on as an open space type area. And the question would be, what is the plan for those? I totally understand fencing construction areas, that like very logical, but there's parts of it that intend to be open in the future. What is the fencing plan for those? At what point do fences come down logically?
So the chain link that's been an eyesore in the area for the last few years, that'll be up during the duration of construction. It'll be the last thing to come down. Our primary focus is to keep people out of there.
Right, but what I'm asking is the areas
so
that
a separation per long-term fencing. Yeah. So it's my understanding that the landscape plan and the fencing plan haven't been fully finalized yet. But I'll request an exhibit for that to post on the site as well. We just are taking over, and so admittedly, I wish that I had more of these exhibits at the ready, but it's good for me to hear what's important to you all so that I can make sure that the next time I come back, we have all of that, and that the website is actually the resource that we intend it to be. If you do go on it, you can see some of our other projects that are in process and the kinds of stuff we like to put forward for people. So again, I recognize that I don't have this in front of me right now, but we'll get it and we'll have it, and I'll make sure that you get all that.
Cool, makes sense. Yep, add it to the backlog. Thank you.
What's your name, just so that I can, if you pop up on the radar again, I can kind of keep track of what I owe people.
This is Kirsten, actually. Hi.
Oh, hi. I know Kirsten. Okay.
All right, Mark had his hand up next.
Okay, I have a lot of questions, but I'll try briefly. Okay, Arlene. So number one, how you guys going to start the grading if it's the plans are still, I suppose you guys still stick with the same plan as New Urban West submitted for the conformance review with the city, correct? This is the same plan you guys proposing to do it?
It's the same plan, correct? Yeah, it's the same plan, just with the reduction of unit counts.
Okay, so well, the units was the same basically. The last plan, the one like submitted for the review for city in conformance with the city council approval. And as I'm following this online, the progress of the project, and it's still in review, basically the environmental and engineering still in review. How are you going to start grading if you don't have yet construction permits? How you guys are moving so fast here without construction permits? We're okay with everything, but we go like everything done by the book, no cutting corners. Number one. This is number two. I live on Unit 8, and we found out that the plans that was submitted for Unit 8 is not in conformance with City Council approval because the elevation has been changed to 10 feet higher for the first two buildings in Unit 8, the one is 2-story buildings, they're next to the basin, has been elevated 10 feet higher, has been approved by City Council. Also, the basin walls was increased and 4 feet high. So this right now is in review, and we've been in communication for 1 year already since it's been submitted for review to city. The neighbors here on Windcrest Lane, and we're 10 our neighbors from the corner of the Shoal Creek and up 10 houses, which will be highly affected by these changes. And we're in communication with the reviewers right now with the Javier, who's in charge. And we would like to see you guys to do some changes to the and stay, adhere to the actual plan, which one was approved by City Council, reduce the elevation and reduce the units amount for this particular Unit 8. This is what we're asking. So we get not impacted as much as you guys, 92 units in this area. It's unacceptable, especially across the park, future park. So this is what my comment. And now the second one, I would like to ask it, tell you, as you're aware, this is very delicate project in here in Carmel Mountain. You probably, Renar probably never done anything like it because it's fairways here. It's not like open space. It's spread all over Carmel Mountain and it's enclosed fairways. So now you're going to start grading. So how you plan to protect properties, our properties from damages, dust, release toxic containment, any gases, which one's going to be from equipment, from soil. So what's, basically what is going to be taking, because our yards, it's about 15 feet wide only from the building to the fence, which one belong to the HOA, and very close going to be to your grading equipment, which one going to be running back and forward. People have pools, people have asthmas, people have a lot of different disease, which one can affect, all this, your activities there. Another thing I want to say, the noise level is going to be, because as how are you going to contain the noise, because basically we are around your property. So people working from home right now, a lot of people in our neighborhood remotely
Mark,
work.
I think that you got your questions out. Why don't we let her answer the questions?
Well, I fit everything. I'll fit everything what my concern is and what the community concern. Okay.
Okay. Well, I can't just let you go on indefinitely. I mean, I asked you to please organize your thoughts into bullet points, questions, or comments.
My bullet.
We know people work from home. Go continue.
Well, the noise level, it's have to be notified when it's going to be a lot of noise, so we can plan for that. So not have a Zoom with the company, let's say president, while you guys going, run the tractors in the back, bulldozers. So this is what is a concern, because this is a different project, very delicate project here, not like other project, whereas the golf course of the site far away from the building. Here is going to be.
Yeah, see, you already said that and you're repeating yourself again and again, which winds up taking longer.
I'm done. Arlene got my point, right, Arlene? You got my point?
I do have your point. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I would like to hear your response to this.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay. I did take notes. All right. So there's a few things that you brought up that all sort of fall within the same category, and those are just general construction impacts. So noise, dust mitigation, just generally how we deal in an infill situation. You're right in that the layout of the golf course is unique in the sheer number of homes that touch the old golf course. So you're absolutely right about that. We do have extensive experience building in infill communities. And like I said at the beginning, we do try really hard to be courteous of our neighbors. That's not to say that that people aren't going to have reason to call and complain, and we'll do our best to make sure we manage everything. But noise, dust, all the construction impacts are analyzed in the environmental impact report, and mitigation is provided for those. So it depends on the construction activity that's happening. That'll dictate what kind of mitigation there is. So we also look at weather patterns too. So depending on if we know it's going to be dry and windy, perhaps there's more watering there's more dust mitigation that happens. If we know it's going to be raining, we do different stormwater prevention, so they are adapting with the mitigation measures are flexible to make sure that we're meeting the current environment. So that's the first part of how we look at that. We have not established a communications protocol for Carmel Mountain Ranch yet. And so we can talk about what that notification process looks like. Usually on other projects, if we know that something is going to be happening that might impact the neighbors, we'll send out an email to those who opt in to get construction updates. And that's something I think we could do for this project too. If you all think that would be helpful, I'm happy to do that. So that's the first part. You mentioned just doing less units. There are already less units being built than what was originally approved. I think the original approval was for 1,200-ish, and right now we're at 826. So there's already been a reduction of units. Further reductions and continuing to change the plan is not something that we're gonna do at this stage in the process. The first, you talked about final engineering. Right now, what happens at this stage is what's called a rough grade. So you're not going to see, home sites taking shape or, the streets coming, it's really just getting the bigger overall planning areas in a place where they need to be. And so we do have the permits for that. We do have the approval to start at that portion of the process. And then after rough grading is done, then they'll come back for the finer grade where you'll start to see actual home pads and streets and things like that coming. So final is not what's happening right now. It's just the rough grading. I am curious about if you could put your name or your contact information in the chat. I'd love to talk to you more about what you're seeing about changing the elevations of Unit 8. I've not heard that, so I'd love to hear more.
Well, I have a proof of this because I have the copy of the plan which one been up.
Right, not like right this moment. We can talk after, please, Mark, because I know there's a lot of questions floating around, and quite frankly, I don't have the grading plans in front of me right now, so I want to make sure we're talking about the same thing. I'll
send you my contact, my email, my phone number, and we can talk about. Maybe you can put me in touch with your project manager, and we will go from there. And we would like to make this project better. Okay, you should understand that. So this what we would like.
Yeah, I think the important thing is that the project is finished, so the designing and changing of the project, that part is done. So we're in just construction mode now. Lennar bought a completed project, a completed approved community, and so yeah, I'm happy to talk through where you think the perceived changes are and really make sure that we're talking about the same thing. But as far as like major project changes, that's not really in the cards anymore.
Okay,
well,
yes.
The thing is, you guys still in review.
Mark, I will make sure that if you guys have any trouble
yet,
if
you
there's
got
any
the proof only, yeah. Okay, thank you.
if there's any trouble, Arlene, with you and Mark connecting, please let me know, and I'll make sure that you're connected.
Thank you, Eric.
Okay. So Bruce, you have your hand up next.
Yeah, I have 3 questions and a comment. I'll just ask them one at a time so you can answer. Yeah, obviously, you know, the judge halted the Junipers project. And I understand there's some settlement talks in play. It feels to me like Lennar is just rushing this through so that you can come back later and say, well, we've already started construction. I mean, this has sat around for 3 years. Why are you waiting, or why don't you wait instead of trying to push this through right now until the resolution of the Junipers lawsuit and the ruling by the judge and potentially any settlement talks? It seems to me you're rushing this through.
So the Junipers doesn't have anything to do with this one. As far as what's happening there with that community, this one analysis is done. It's been accepted. There was already a settlement for the trails at Carmel Mountain Ranch, and that's why you saw the reduction of unit counts. So the 2 projects are not linked. The entitlement processes were totally separate and different and unique. That community is very different than this one.
Yeah, but they are related, because the point of the judge's ruling is that the communities, the city did not consider the 3 projects in the totality, because it did not consider trails, it did not consider Junipers, and it did not consider the other one, I don't remember, together. So they are related. In other words, if they had been considered originally together, they might have not approved the trails.
Right, but we can talk more about this, but I'm not a CEQA attorney. But as far as CEQA is concerned, the trails is not part of the Junipers, or it's hard to explain. They're just separate. They're not looked at the same. So Junipers is on hold. You're absolutely right, but that doesn't mean that this one can't move forward, because the analysis for this one has been closed, it has been approved, and it has been settled, whereas the Junipers has not. That analysis is still what the judge is looking at. So this one is separate. It's different.
Okay, well, I won't belabor the point. I hope that the judge does come back and stop this project, because they are related.
This one's not part of that decision. It's not under
No, but
review
it
by
might
the
be in the
judge.
future, right? Somebody else can
No.
bring it up.
Right. So, but Bruce, by our HOA filing the lawsuit within that lawsuit time period and then settling on the lower units, that did reduce the legal standing that our community had.
Yes, but it doesn't mean that Sierra Club couldn't, for example, come in and claim that the EIR was misrepresented because they weren't considering the totality of the 3 projects.
I
Again, I don't want to belabor it, because I know we need to get through it, but I'm just pointing out to the people who are listening that I think you folks are pushing it through in an effort to say, oh, we've already started construction. So that being said, I'll move on to my second question. Why did the unit count go down? And that, by the way, did not go down from 1250 to 826. It went to 975 to 826. I'd like to know why you changed the number.
It wasn't us that changed it. It was the settlement from when the group did sue on the EIR. The CEQA, there's a certain threshold of when you can sue on an EIR, and that has closed for this project. There was a lawsuit filed that was settled, and the reduction in unit counts was part of that settlement.
Exactly.
Sound right. So that's done. That's been completed. Both parties had agreed to that settlement.
Yes, but the number
Sounds
they
like
settled
Kirsten has
down to
maybe
was
more.
975, not 826. Why did you reduce it further?
I can ask. I'm not sure.
Okay, I'd like to answer that, because to me, that tells me there's some reason why you reduce it to 826. I'd like to know what that reason is. Third question.
It was reduced prior to their acquisition.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, the number went down, so I want to know why. Third question, the last time an arborist reviewed our neighborhood, it was 2 years ago, yet you're already doing tree cutting. So when were you planning on having other arborists come by and view the trees before cutting more trees down?
We have an arborist on site that did bird surveys prior to removing trees.
When was that done?
It was done 72 hours before. So each time you remove trees, you have to make sure that there's been a bird survey within 72 hours, and that has been completed.
Okay. All right, my last comment is I think it would work in your favor to begin work on the 3 park areas before you start working on the rest of your project, or the community's been waiting for that for a while. It was one of the few positives that came out of the purchase of the golf course. And people were quite unhappy when we heard that the parks wouldn't be done until the very end. So keep that in mind. And I'm done, Eric. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, never mind. I'm gonna move on. Rich?
Mine's quick. I was going to ask about the parks too, and you were already going to provide someone with the schedule for the parks. I'm just going to ask that you send it to more of us, like maybe to Eric to distribute to all of us, because that was going to be my question too. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Rich.
Yeah, that's something that we asked New Urban West for, and it would be really, really nice if we could get some of these parks sooner rather than later.
Okay.
Robert Gravina.
Oh, you're muted, Robert.
Oh, Robert, yeah, I'm still muted.
Sorry, I'm a tech wizard. When you say units, are the units corresponding to the old golf holes? So unit 17 used to be the 17th hole. Unit 6 used to be the 6th hole. Is that correct? Am I understanding that? Do you know, Eric, or anybody?
That is correct.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to be sure I knew what we were talking about.
There's the map if you need that, just for reference.
Okay. Yeah, it's too small. I can't see that, but that's fine. That's what I thought anyway. So when you say homes, you mean condos, right? There are no homes being built. They're all condos or apartments. Is that correct?
Well, condos are homes.
Okay, I understand that. But they're not single family homes.
They're not single family detached homes. That's correct.
Okay.
They're not like your home, I assume.
And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to.
It's okay, Robert.
I just wanted to be sure that something wasn't changing, because originally we were told there were going to be some single family homes. That was originally what we were all told was going to happen. And I think people were much happier with that. But anyway, so they're condos.
Yeah, that was.
My final question is, my major concern with the grading is the displacement of all the rodents. Are you guys going to do anything to? I've done a lot of construction, so I know when you start digging up earth, you're taking away the homes of these squirrels and rats and little rabbits and all these little rodents, and they will be coming into our homes. Is there anything that you guys, have you had any experience? Can you do any mitigation that might prevent that from happening? I don't know, but that's a bigger concern for me, honestly, than the dirt or the noise.
Okay, so I have not seen this kind of like Pied Piper sort of situation where, you know, the first truck comes and you see like thousands of rodents coming in. Once the activity starts picking up on the site, it's my experience that once there's more activity, you don't see a lot of rodent activity. It's not like a tidal wave of rats that come off the project sites. But we can look into what kind of mitigation, if there are any best practices around.
Mitigation would be helpful. RB is the rat capital of the world. It's like we have, I don't know why, but for some reason I've had people, you know, the pest control guys tell me that like there's rats abundant around here. And I find them fairly often in my pool, and I mean, I have a pest guy that controls them now, but I just know that I know, because I built construction, I used to build schools, and it displaces their homes and they look for another place to live. A lot of times that's in our attics and under our houses and places. So if there's any mitigation you can do, that would be really helpful.
Okay, thank you.
And that's it. Thank you.
John?
Yeah, Arlene, as you know, New Urban West owned the entire golf course. That would be those holes that are going to be built on, and then there were probably about 8 or 9 or 10 former golf course holes that are being left open space. Who owns those former golf course holes that are going to be left open space now?
Lennar bought the entirety of the property from Northern
Oh,
West.
oh, okay. And I think there was a question asked similar to mine earlier, but just to reiterate, I'm interested in what Lennar is going to do with those open space holes and when. Can you tell us anything about that now?
Not at this stage. Oh, I see Jim. So Jim Kilgore is our project manager. He just joined us. Jim, do you have timing on when there's been lots of questions on delivery of the parks and open space areas and requests to potentially expedite those. So I don't think we can answer any kind of phasing type questions at this point about parks, but can you give a little more color on if you know, like when some of those open space areas will start coming online, especially for the units that are not seeing any development?
And apologies for coming on late, conflict. The timing of the open space, there isn't anything in the conditions that require those to come online, if you will. Really what it comes down to is as the development matures and we get enough homes that are part of an HOA that can accept maintenance of those open spaces, that will accept maintenance of those open space areas. Same thing with the parks. The parks are to be brought on per the conditions of approval based on the number of homes that are sold, so they could support the construction of each one of the parks. The first one will be on Eastbourne, and then the other parks will follow suit.
Okay, so it sounds like there may be multiple HOAs and perhaps a condominium development HOA might take on maintenance responsibility for some open space that's a block or two away. Am I hearing that correctly?
In a sense, yeah, there'll be a master HOA that will maintain all the, what we call master maintenance requirements, including all the open space. The parks themselves will be maintained by the city, but in order to be able to generate the funds to construct the parks, we need to obviously get some revenue by getting certain amount of homes sold.
Okay, I have no further questions. Thank you.
Karen Vogue. There she goes.
Thank you. I was taking notes, so I got taken by surprise.
Sorry.
Okay, the first thing is, I think I was taking notes earlier when Arlene was talking right at the beginning in regards to bird surveys, biological surveys, and you said they had been done. Are those done like on a fairway to fairway basis, like immediately before construction? Rather than the whole, rather than all the fairways?
Jim, it looked like you popped your hand up. You want to take that one?
We have continual bird surveys that have to happen because they're only good for so many days. Couldn't tell you how many days, but what they're being done is as each area is disturbed, whether it be tree removal or the grading operations, those there's state regulations about how many days those surveys are good for. So we're doing it in a phased process as we disturb those areas.
Okay, the other thing is are you guys made aware of like the incident last week where a tree was cut down on Fairway 8? And I emailed a couple people. I think I emailed someone at the city. I emailed Eric because it immediately came to my mind about the wildlife surveys. And then it wasn't until the day after, Friday, that a DUDEC biologist came out and look for nests, but I think 1 or 2 trees were already cut down. Are you aware of that kind of mix up on the timing, or it appeared that way at least?
I think that's just a misperception. I was told that all of the necessary surveys had happened. So maybe they had someone come out after, maybe after you complained. I was made aware by our tree company that a neighbor had approached them. Yeah, I think that might just be a misperception. But we can
I'm
look into
sorry,
it.
what was that?
I think it might be just a misperception, but I can look into that timing. I was told that all of the necessary bird surveys were done and continue to be done. The threshold that I was given was 72 hours. So before the disturbances Jim mentioned, that they make sure they've checked that out.
Yeah, I happened to talk to her by accident. I was on the phone with somebody and then they gave me the phone to her. So I was really not prepared. So she didn't say to me that she had already been out previous. So, and I would think she would have, but it's water under the bridge. There was, I don't know if it was fact or perception, but we noticed a tree cut down and then she was out with her vest the day after the trees were already gone. The other thing is, you are using Dudek as your survey person for?
Dudek, yeah.
Okay,
That's correct.
thank you. I happened to go through, I think a couple of days ago, the responses to the draft EIR, and I found it. It's an independent biology report by Hamilton that our HOA ordered. I guess when they had the lawsuit against the city. And so I looked at that and they pointed out some really, really large, I would not know how to say it, inadequacies, I guess, in that survey. There was never a spring survey done for native plants that are rare. And they said that it should have been done in the spring because it's the only time that these plants bloom. So there was a whole bunch of special plants that may have been missed because a spring survey was never done. So I would ask that you consider to do that. What was the other thing? I have one more thing. I am sorry. I know it was that about that missing the plants. Yeah, and they found a whole bunch of plants that Dudek didn't find. They found like 3 times more plants than Dudek did. And they also didn't do a focused survey for species of special status. And the EIR survey said like some animals were not likely to be found. We actually have photos of them, like the least bittern. Dudek said it's not expected to occur, and we have a photo of that. Same with western bluebird. Dudek said it was not expected to occur. And the Hamilton biologists found 3 during their 4-hour survey. And we have photos of them. We have 3 photos of them on our, from what residents sent us. So anyway, I want to know if you guys would do a spring survey and then a focused survey for animals of special status.
Okay. We can
I thought it was really lacking. That's what I would say, bottom line.
Sure. Yeah, and we can bring that request to leadership. And so you referenced the draft EIR with city approval. That's the final EIR. So the draft and those comments aren't necessarily what we look at right now as the community builder. But we can ask leadership if that is something, additional surveys beyond what's required at this late stage, if they would be open to doing that. I think with the sensitive species, to me, we can talk to Dudek as well, but I believe that those would also be noted and observed in the surveys that we're doing in advance of in advance of grading, but we can find out for you, Karen.
Yeah, I could, because I think what my point is that after I saw this and I saw the differences between what the independent biologists found versus what DUDEC found, my feeling is that DUDEC might not be as thorough. And so they might actually be missing some of these birds, Cooper's hawk nests, Western bluebird, etc. So that, I think that bottom line, that's my concern, is that DUDEC might not be as thorough as this biologist hired by our HOA.
I can speak to that today. We had a meeting with the city environmental section, as well as the DUDEC biologists, et cetera, about specifically what's called out in the conditions of approval and what specific species are supposed to be surveyed. City asked for a little bit more definition about where these surveys are going to be happening, what species that they're going to be looking for, and at what stage of construction. So those types of surveys are being considered as part of the construction of the project. So it's now in the execution stage based on what was approved for the final EIR as well as the conditions of approval. So as far as expounding beyond that, we can take it to our management. But right now we're adhering to the approved conditions.
Okay. Okay, well, I sure appreciate if you guys could ask about a spring survey for those plants. And I don't know what else about those special species. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for your comment.
Rich Holstrom.
Yeah, I want to see if I understand something right that you mentioned before about the plans as published by New Urban West, and if those are still in play as they were originally published in terms of the road structure, the types of units, the number of units. Something was said before, and might just be a technical difference that I'm on unit 1. So I'll be expecting your trucks in the very, very near future. I already have your survey stakes out in my backyard. It's not a day I've been looking forward to, but nevertheless, I want to make sure that those plans are those that are in play right now, because they did have single family homes. And someone else before mentioned that there were condos. I'm not sure exactly how that should be taken in this context, but the plans as New Urban West put them on unit 1 had single family homes in rows. And I want to make sure that that's still in play.
Yeah, the unit 1 and unit 17 will have single family homes. They are still considered condominiums. They'll just be single family detached condominiums as opposed to.
They are detached. I'm not sure what the difference is. There may just be a technical difference. Okay.
From physical appearance, they look like your single family home, just like the surrounding community. They're not. They don't have shared walls, so they have side yards, just like a single family would.
Okay. So the use of the term condominium then is just
lot.
It refers more to the lot than it does the actual.
I mean, yeah, they're just row houses as they're set up right now, not particularly attractive, but nevertheless, that's the way it is.
We did request new renderings of the product type, and what I'm thinking, and Jim, maybe we can work on this and then share it on the website, is once we get those either new renderings or new elevations, being able to have the site map and then kind of a leader line of showing this is the type of product that's going to be in that area, just to give people a better idea of what's coming. The other thing I jotted down was just being very specific on how many homes are in each unit. That way everyone can see,
Yeah, they're a little difficult to decipher, but they're the New Urban West, and particularly for someone who doesn't read that kind of stuff on a regular basis. But they were, so you're saying the elevations are going to change then from what they are right now? So I'm a bit confused. I thought you said before that they're staying the same as what was published by
Oh,
New
no,
Urban West.
I just don't have graphics of the housing. They're not, I don't have graphics that was in, none of those were included in the New Urban West folder that was sent over to me of what renderings are available. And so I know we were talking internally at Lennar about having new imagery prepared just so that we had something to share. Everything that I have is mainly, or everything that I was given was mainly like parks. And so just focusing more on the housing piece, just so we can be able to answer these kinds of questions in more detail without showing you like technical drawings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kurt?
My turn again, sorry. I forgot a question that I had that, you know, it was Arlene and Jim, this was a really big issue in the beginning of this project, and it got politely dropped by the city, and it's all about security. You know, we've got like 650 homes we're exposed that were on the golf course, around that number. And they all have open steel fencing.
Okay.
And the golf course was more or less private. It had some security. Usually it was security from the golfers that were using it. But now we don't have that anymore. And I guess I had a couple questions. So does the trail projects have their own fencing that border the trail as well, right?
That's what another person had asked as well, is what that separation would look like. Jim, do we have an approved fencing plan yet?
There's no planned additional fencing as part of the project. The perimeter fencing that exists today is the primary separation between the existing residents and the planned residents.
Yeah, because I mean, you know, with all this rise in crime that, you know, that our neighborhood's starting to experience now, it seems like it anyway. You know, that's a big concern of ours. And I know these trails are supposed to have lights, correct?
There will be lighting along the portions of the trails that front the planned communities. But once it leaves those planned communities, there's not a plan to continue those lighting, because there's roughly 5 miles of trails out there now, or what used to be golf cart trails. So there isn't a plan to light the entire 5 miles of trails.
Well, I was more concerned about the parts of the trail that were, you know, next to the community. But I guess I am kind of concerned now that I've learned that, you know, these trails aren't even going to be improved until 2026.
No, they're going to be improved. The trails are going to be improved with each unit. There's quite a few of them that are going to be rebuilt or relocated to be to work with the proposed improvements. So, I mean, the intent is to make them work with the existing improvements, tie them into the planned developments, so that we've got access from the future communities to each one of these trails. And then eventually there'll be a public access easement over all the trails once we get them reconstructed.
So as far as security goes, then we're just relying on the existing fencing, lighting in some of the areas, and I'm assuming the trails isn't providing any security for their projects, right? That you know of through the homeowners associations or the master association?
What security? What other than lighting? What security are you thinking?
Well, I'm just curious, what kind of is there a private security that Lennar is going to be using around these developments? You know, if you can picture our homes, we're exposed now to the public trail systems. I mean, they can look right through our fences, they can hop our fences, they can come right into our yards, they can see our backyards. I mean, this has been an issue. We talked about, hey, can we get our fences modified so that we could get something up to obscure views into our neighborhoods? And this was just like totally ignored. If you go through the mounds of paperwork that we submitted to the city, and I know it's not your problem, like you said, you're in the execution phase, and we're sitting here like sitting ducks, and nothing has been done. And we're very worried and concerned about that. So, I mean, that's a big issue. And I don't know if, putting a few trees and shrubs is going to really answer and help us and help our community. I mean, Moving West handed you, a nest of hornets, the way I look at it, because there's so much missing on these plans. It's just ridiculous. And it's very disappointing.
Well,
I don't have any more questions.
Okay. All right. So I have a couple of comments here. And Mark, I see your hand up, and I'm going to get to you, but you've had 6-7 minutes on this already. So if you're going to make more comments, ask more questions, I hope you're covering new ground and not just rehashing what's already been talked about. And Lennar did offer to talk to you offline. So I'm going to make my comments and then we'll come to you, but please keep that in mind. And I am not trying to be rude. I'm just trying to run a meeting. So
I understand. I just want to make sure Lynn got my contacts. It's all.
Okay.
Easy.
Okay. Well, then go ahead and then I'll conclude.
Do you got my contact, Arlene?
I'm scrolling the chat right now, so I will find it.
I promise that, Mark, we will make sure Arlene has your contact info. That'll
because
happen.
I got the details of the location of the map, for the grading, and I got all the information of this, exactly where you can look it up. If we can even arrange the meeting, we can show you where is this exactly located, on your plan, okay?
Right,
it's been increased from 640 to 650.
Okay, so you're gonna talk to them.
I found your email and your cell phone, so I will set up.
Okay.
I will set up a meeting for us. I do see in the chat there's a lot of comments like we need a new EIR. There needs to be a separate lawsuit. The EIR has been completed. The time for that is past.
I was actually, Arlene, I'm going to address some of that. I mean,
okay.
I can't address every single comment in the chat, but what I can tell folks is that this board and the community worked tirelessly. Hundreds of hours were spent responding to the initial EIR, the comments. They're all part of the public record. The city approved the project. Whoever was going to sue had 30 days from that time to file a suit. This board is not in the business of or enabled to do anything with regard to lawsuits. So all of that discussion here at this meeting is relatively pointless because that is not a function of this board whatsoever. Your HOA, our HOA, did file a lawsuit within the time. It was a CEQA lawsuit, which means that they were suing over the EIR. They settled the suit. They settled the suit without coming to the community and asking us what we thought about it. Maybe they had some meetings, maybe I don't know. There was no voting done. They had the authority to do what they did, and they did it. The suit was settled. So if this project is going to become in any way part of this other thing, somebody else needs to pick up that mantle and run with it. It's not us. And I have talked to the Sierra Club myself. It's not them, because they told me Their exact words, that ship has sailed. That's what I was told by somebody very high up in the Sierra Club organization. I am not sitting here voicing opposition or support for anything. I'm giving you raw facts. The project is approved. Lennar is in the construction phase unless and until something else happens, but it is not going to come from the judge or the Juniper's lawsuit. So that has got to be clear to everyone. That lawsuit has nothing to do with this. We had a private group similar to the Penasquitos North Action League or whatever they're called, the ones who filed that suit. That was Carmel Mountain Ranch United. And I want to be very clear on the history of this, because this is very important to me personally as somebody who has spent, like the rest of the board, but I have spent years of my life, hundreds of hours on this very topic. And I was, as the chairperson of this board, extraordinarily accommodating to Carmel Mountain Ranch United and their efforts to do whatever it was they were doing. I ceded about half of our time at the city council hearing. This group was given a certain amount of time at the city council hearing to make their case. I gave as much of that time as I could give to Carmel Mountain Ranch United. And I want to make it clear that within days, I don't know the exact timeline, but within days of the city council approval, the leader of that group disbanded the group. They quit. And I'm sorry to any Carmel Mountain Ranch United people who don't like me saying that, but that's what happened. The group was disbanded. If there was going to be a lawsuit filed by that group, it should have happened within 30 days. And possibly because the HOA stepped in and filed suit, they felt they didn't need to exist anymore. But that's what happened. I'm not saying it was good. I'm not saying it was bad. I'm not saying the people were good or bad. It is what it is, and that's what happened. And so I'm making sure that the record is set straight on those issues, because I see a lot of stuff in the chat, and you know, some of you are here, some of you were not here for all of it. But I can assure you, I and this board have been here for all of it, the whole time. So that's what I want to say about that. With regard to security and crime, protection of your property as a homeowner, the San Diego police response time is roughly, I think, 14, 15 minutes on something. So by the time they get there, whatever's going to happen has happened. Protect your properties. Have a home protection plan. Have motion lights, have security cameras, and whatever other home protection elements you feel are important. It is not going to be Lennar's responsibility to protect us, as it was not the golf course owner's responsibility to protect us. So yes, our homes are exposed to an open space. They have been, they will be, there will be other properties back there. Please have a home protection plan, all of you. It's extraordinarily important. I have one at my home, and I know what it is, and it's personal to every homeowner, what you're comfortable doing and what you're not comfortable doing. But please do that. Okay, those are all my comments, and I'm sorry to rant and rave, but I see a lot of stuff in the chat, and a lot of it, some of it comes from people who aren't even named. You won't even share your name with us. So unless you're willing to say who you are and what you've done for this community, I'm not particularly appreciative of random comments that don't take into account hard, demonstrable, provable facts in the record. Okay, that's it. Sorry, we've gone on a really long time. Does anybody else have anything for Lennar before we let them go?
Just in closing, I do want to say thank you to you all for your comments and for just talking with us and for your time. We've got a long road ahead of us. And so, you know, our commitment to you is that we'll do our best to be transparent. if there's an issue, we'll do our best to solve it and get you an answer. Our answers might not make everybody happy, but we'll make sure that we're truthful and honest and timely in those responses. So I do appreciate everyone's time and just for engaging with us. Please go to the website. I'm still adding all the exhibits. So if you go on the website and you sign up for updates, I'll make sure that you get an update as soon as the website is up there, including the timelines and the slides from tonight. Jim and I will touch base tomorrow and talk through the things that the questions that were asked before he hopped on and make sure that you get those responses too. So thank you to you all. Thank you to Eric and the board. We will see you again soon, I'm sure.
Thank you, Arlene.
Thanks, Arlene.
Bye, everyone.
Hi. Okay. So Sed, I see your hand up. Whatever you need to say, please say it.
She's muted.
You're muted. Said you're muted. We cannot hear you.
Yeah. When Leonard and golf course, they made that contract, the fencing was part of the golf course maintenance and installment. So I think fencing is the responsibility of Leonard. It's not the owners of the house's responsibility. They should really take charge in this thing.
Okay, I'm not sure which fencing are you referring to? The fencing along the back of your house?
Yes.
That's
yes.
your fence.
No, it was managed and placed by the golf course.
It might have been, it's our responsibility. Every homeowner in this community is responsible for maintaining their fence.
When I moved here, I moved from beginning. When it was built, I was the original person that moved to this community.
Yeah, a lot of us have lived here a long time. So, I mean,
that fence was put in and managed by the golf course. We as a homeowner, we never painted that. We never changed the fence. The fence was changed at one point. We had the gate that opened to the golf course. Golf course closed all that, painted it, and it was part of their maintenance.
well,
So
I mean,
how that happened?
The golf course is gone. The city approved a project. The project approval does not include Lennar or any other owner of that property maintaining our fences.
Eric, should we just check with the HOA though on like those fences? Because I've heard conflicting things even about the non-golf course facing fences. Like we replaced our own several like couple of years back, and then a bunch of people said, oh, like the HOA would have done that for you, but then there's no evidence of that. So maybe we should just get this whole group.
I know, because I mean I've gotten letters from the HOA, not in the current residence, but at other residents I've owned in Carmel Mountain Ranch, telling me I needed to fix my fence. So
there you go. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we could certainly get somebody from the HOA to come and address fences, but it's not something that we're going to retroactively get Lennar to tackle. I was very serious when I said that each individual homeowner should rely on themselves to protect their property.
That's for sure.
That is, I mean, I'm not trying to pass off any responsibility that Lennar might eventually have or should have, but I'm just saying, regardless of our HOA, regardless of anything else, protect yourself, folks.
That's for sure.
Okay. All right. I thought I saw another hand fly up, but okay, folks. I mean, I know nobody's happy about this. I couldn't be less happy. I mean, it is what it is. Unfortunately, it came down the way it did, and here we are. And this group we've done everything within our power, which is not a lot, but what we can do and what we do is provide this space for you all to come. You may not like everything you hear. You may not like everything that's said. You may not like everything we do, but we are here. And that should not be taken for granted because the city's trying to shut us down. So now we're transitioning into chair's report, and we're not going to deal with elections and appointments tonight. It's just too late. But you know, we as a community are under attack by our own city. This community planning group is under attack by your own city, our own city. The city that charters us is trying to shut us down. They passed new resolutions. By the end of the year, this group has to reapply to the city of San Diego for recognition. And that reapplication has to include all sorts of, pardon my French, crap. And it's all being done under the blanket name of diversity. The city says community planning groups aren't diverse enough, et cetera, et cetera. I have repeated again and again to any city official who will listen that our group is as diverse as the people who will volunteer to be part of it. We have never turned anyone away. We have never rejected anybody. We have welcomed anybody who wanted to sit on our board with open arms and still do and will. But I'm telling you, the city of San Diego is rolling into the future with zero plan. They have no plan. All the plans they're telling you they have are nonsense. Climate action plan is nonsense. If the climate action plan meant anything, there would be transportation required with all of these projects. They're infilling the crap out of North City with no plan for transportation. So 15 years from now, guess what the rallying cry is going to be? There's a transportation crisis, and we need to address it with your tax dollars. So I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know what the answer is. I just know we're under attack. And I never thought that I would be this worked up about anything because I'm a pretty mellow guy. But this experience of going through this approval of this project has taught us all a lot. Yes, pro-developer. And, you know, I mean, developers are out to make money. They're special interests. And what do special interests do? They donate to politicians, and they will donate to whatever politicians are in power. I don't care if they're Republican, Democrat, Independent, Green, you name it. You put a party in power, developers will give them money and they'll approve their projects. I mean, unless something dramatic changes in our entire system, this is what's happening. Mira Mesa has been upzoned up the wazoo. They came into Mira Mesa and they changed the community plan over the objection of the community planning group. They are rezoning Mira Mesa to allow something on the order of 25,000 new residential units along Mira Mesa Boulevard. And if you think that can't happen on Carmel Mountain Road, you're wrong. So just remember this when you vote and stay focused on who, I don't want to call him the enemy because it's there isn't any one person. Your city councilwoman is a lovely person who's trying to be as responsive as she can to all of us. So individually, these folks are fine, but collectively, they do the wrong thing because the money is there. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. And it's late. And if anybody else has any comments, let's share them now, and then we'll adjourn and regroup and do this all again next month. So either I just summed up everybody's feelings or I pissed everybody off. I don't know what I did, but I mean, because nobody has a follow-up. So I guess that's.
We haven't had a meeting like this in a year.
What's that?
We haven't had a long meeting like this in about a year.
I know it's been a while, and you know it's long overdue. I'm just, you know, it's the thing is approved, and unless somebody does something, and it can't be us, it's happening.
I'll just say amen, Eric.
All right. Well, thank you. Okay, so that's it. Meeting adjourned. I appreciate all of you, everybody that attended tonight. Thank you. We will see you next month.
Thanks, Eric.